Hi everyone. This is the first video in a series on enrolling families, working with families. It does get to be quite complicated when we start working with families, and I'm hoping that this will at least shed some insight on the process and give you some more tools. But today we're going to be talking about basic navigation and the tools that are available to you. In future videos, we'll talk about taking clients who have a record in the database and either creating their own family or adding them to a new family, so working with clients already in the database. In another video, we'll talk about how to add a new client to the database and add them to a family. So if you have a new baby who's born or somebody experiencing homelessness for the first time, we'll go through examples of that. We'll also talk about just how to enroll a family altogether, and we'll look at important things like dates and relationship to head of household. And then we'll also talk about how to exit family members from a program enrollment but keep everybody else still active with the program enrollment. And we'll talk about how to add somebody who joins a family after the enrollment has already opened. Okay. All right, so very first thing, I'm here in our training database and I have a test client, King Tut. Whenever I'm working with clients and client records, the very first thing I do is I check to see if they have any open program enrollments. And we can see that they do. Anything that appears on the client dashboard is an open, active program enrollment. I check to see the family ID on the enrollment, and I see 217826. And if I go to the top left corner, I also see 217826. That means that 217826 is the active family for right now. And if I click on this little arrow that appears in the top left corner, I'm going to see everybody who is in this family. This does not mean that everybody is enrolled, but it means that this is everybody in the family. And we'll talk about why that's important in just a moment. The other thing that I noticed is that I am working with King Tut, but King Tut is not the head of household. Queen Tut is. And I can see that here, back in the top left-hand corner, where King Tut is the spouse, Queen Tut is the head of household, and Duke Tut is the child. If I wanted to get client IDs for these two clients, I could just click on Queen Tut's name, and it'll take me to her client dashboard. I can see her client ID, I can see some demographic information, and then I can also see what's kind of currently going on with Queen Tut with program enrollments and client alerts. You could see that Queen Tut and King Tut's dashboards look very different. That's very common. I think one of the goals of this video series is to have the family ID mean a little bit more so that when I see this number 217826 on an enrollment, I can just come here and see, okay, these three people probably are enrolled. Right now, that's not the case at all, as a lot of you know. So I've been to King Tut's record, I've been to Queen Tut's record. If I wanted to check out maybe Duke Tut's client ID, his date of birth, I could do that right here. Okay. So we have, we're going back to King Tut. Now, let's say that we want to add services or case notes. If we had like a street outreach or a housing program. We have to make, before we can do that, we have to make the active family ID match the family ID on the enrollment. Right now they do match, but if they didn't, I would come over here to change active family. And this page always takes a long time to load. It doesn't matter if the client has one family they're involved with or 10 families they're involved with. It's going to take a minute. And we can see that 217826 is the family ID here. That's currently the active family. 220639 is another family this client is involved with. And we can see that he is the head of household because the family is named after him. If I click on this, I have now changed this so that 220639 is the active family. And King Tut is the head of household. We knew that, but he is the only one in this family. Okay. So once you've done this, you'd be able to enter services or case notes. Okay, so let's say we want to see a little bit more information, or we actually want to change some things with the family. Maybe we need to add somebody, maybe we need to remove somebody, maybe we need to rename the family. so that program enrollments are more straightforward. Maybe we need to change the relationship to the head of household. All of that is going to be done off the Case Management tab in Family and Contacts. And then we go to, in the top left corner, you'll see Family. We're going to go to Family. Okay, so you are going to get to be so familiar with this page. This is what we're going to focus on with these videos. Off of the action gear, Quick Add Family Member, this is where you add clients who are brand new to the database. Edit Family Members, this is where you can work with relationships to head of household, and you can, I believe, add clients who already exist in the database. You can add them to this family from Edit Family Members. And then Edit Family is for changing the name of the family itself. So let's go to Edit Family Members. We can see King Tut, Duke Tut, and Queen Tut. We can see their relationship to head of household, their ages, their genders, the date they were added. If the client had been removed from the family, we would have an end date here. So if I came to, let's say that Queen Tut is no longer going to be part of the family, I want to remove her and show that she's not part of the family anymore. I've exited her from the program. But before I can do that, she is currently the head of household. So I would need to change her status. Maybe she would be the spouse, and King Tut would be the head of household. Okay. So right now I've just changed the head of household status. Maybe I've learned that King Tut is chronically homeless. And so I have made him the head of household so that the household is considered chronically homeless. Now, one thing that's confusing is I changed King Tut. He's now the head of household. And now we have two families. They're both named Tut King, 5/9/1991. The date order is a little bit different, but the names are essentially the same. When I go to enroll this family, it's going to be pretty confusing. It's going to be difficult to know which family to work with, which is why it's a good idea to come here to edit the family and change the family name to something meaningful. Maybe if this is, one thing we do quite commonly is we will take a client out of a family and we'll create a brand new family where they're on their own. And so we've been putting client last name, Tut, client first name, King, and then solo, just to show that they're alone. If you're working with a family and you need to enroll them, maybe you put your organization's initials, AUW, or Partners in Care. You could do that. And we'll see later on in another video how much simpler that makes the process of choosing the family when you're working with them. Okay. We can pick a primary language. In this case, it's going to be English, and we'll save. And we can see that the name change saved. If you are working with families and you want to change the name, be sure you wait till the very end to change the name. If I were to add somebody to this family right now, once I click save, the family name would default to last name, first name, date of birth. So just wait till you've created the family, you've added or removed everybody before changing the family name itself. Okay. All right, so what we've done today is I'll just kind of work backwards. We came to the Edit Family Members option off the action gear, and we changed the relationship to head of household. And we also just looked to see what information was available to us. We also learned how to change the family name to make it easier later on when we're working with enrollment. We learned what this family ID number means and what this family ID number means. And we also learned how to change it so that they match, and that way we can enter services or enter case notes. The one other thing that I did want to show is from Case Management Program Enrollment, how to see who's actually involved or who is actually enrolled in the program with King Tut. So with this family ID 217826, this had King Tut, Queen Tut, and Duke Tut. If I come to this action gear and I go to member enrollment, I'll be able to see everybody who's actually enrolled, and we can see that it's just King Tut And this is very common, and a lot of times it's okay. Sometimes it's a mistake, especially if you have a family VI SPDAT. You would need more than one person. Another video will show how to add family members to an enrollment that's already existing, kind of like in this situation. One reason we have this action gear here is because I am in the organization that created the enrollment, Aloha United Way. That's my organization up here. We have another organization, Kalihi Palama, that entered this outreach enrollment. Because I'm not in this organization, I cannot see the action gear here. Okay. So this was kind of the basic navigation with working with family members. In the next video, we will look at adding clients to families. So I will see you guys soon.